conversation will rule the nation on face-to-face basis when we blast off. It's real on the dance floor, on the turf of the court. Yeah, we here for the sport, so take your mask off so I can hear your ass talk. Let me hear you explain. Hold the thoughts on your brain. Is your ass smart? Spit facts and real talk. I need that shit from the street that make you think real deep and take a long walk. This podcast is hella lit with my man JD Fence and Skizzo Blizzard.
What it do, family? Welcome back, man. It's the Mask Uncovered podcast. Got some special guests in the house. If y'all been following us, y'all probably already seen the interview with my man Stan Green. Then say what up to the peoples.
Welcome. Always a pleasure to be back with my brother.
It's always good to have you here, bro.
Yes, sir.
I love you, man. Thanks for showing up, man.
Definitely, man.
And tonight we got a special guest in the house, man. This kid, some of you guys know him, some of you guys don't, man. But this is Marcus Faison. Give you a little history about, who he is. Right now, he's born and raised in, born in Cambridge, Mass. He's been, a few places. He'll tell you about that as the story goes on. 27 right now, 6'5", 215. But the reason why we got him here, he's a ball player. I know all my ball players are sitting up here like, well, I don't know him, or I might know him. Well, here we go. We're going to break down a little bit of what he's been through. He played at Cambridge Ranger Latin, 09 through 13. He left with an average of 16.5 points per game and 13 rebounds per game.
Nice.
You heard that?
Double.
That's in high. Okay. Moved on to Salem State University, where he scored more than 1,000 points, career average of 17 points. He had 794 rebounds, which is the average of 13.7, which is fourth all time. Double record for points and rebounds in the season, which was 22 at Salem State. He also had two-time All-Conference Player of the Year at MAS CAC Conference. Numerous tournament MVPs. All-American in 2017. Senior Athlete of the Year in 2017. After that, putting up those type of numbers, you already know some people move on to different endeavors, but what he ended up doing was going to El Salvador. All right, so in El Salvador, he in 2019 averaged 25 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists. Top 5 in rebounding, top 4 in scoring, named first team All-League. But that ain't numbers. All right, so now we move on. Then he goes to Nicaragua, 2020, pro, averaged 17.1 points per game, 10.8 rebounds per game, and 4 assists. He was actually selected to the All-Star team. So give it up for my man we have here, Marcus Faison. Thank you for being here, man.
Appreciate the introduction, man.
So that's just the history of who he is, what he's doing for basketball, and that's always an introduction. And what we want to jump off into, like real talk, is like, how'd you get your start with playing basketball? Like, what's your family like? Let's start off with your upbringing, like mother, father. What's the science behind the background?
All right, man. So I moved around a lot when I was young, but as far as I can go back and start with basketball, I remember I lived on Bailey Street in Dorchester. This is probably when I was like 5-6 years old. And we had like a little, I remember back in the day, remember they used to cut like the little milk carts.
Oh, fact.
Right? They used to cut the little milk carts and put them on the tree. And we used to have one of those in my backyard, like I said, on Bailey Street. This is around like 5 years old, so I must have been like 99 going to the year 2000. Right? And so I used to shoot on it every day by myself, but I didn't really like shoot on it by myself. I only usually play on it when we used to have like cookouts and people at the crib. And that's when I remember when like Uncle Stan, he had his son come over at the crib sometimes. He used to have his son come over and his son come over and like my pop's friends have their kids come over as well. So it'd probably be like 10 of us playing on that little milk crate, playing basketball. So that's probably the furthest I can go back with the basketball thing. But as far as me taking it serious, I'm probably gonna be taking it serious probably till like when I was like 10 years old. My mom came up for like the YMCA. Cambridge. That's when we had the Wolves in Cambridge. We was going back and forth over in Boston. And then it was like every Saturday we had a league. And then my first game at the YMCA, I didn't play too good because it was like my first time playing like in front of like people and playing on an actual team with a coach and all that stuff. So like somebody came to me and was like, man, like I see you got some potential in you, but like I feel like you're playing slow because you're nervous, you're moving like molasses, you gotta speed it up a little bit. I'm like, alright, I don't know. My mother was dying when they said molasses. I don't know what molasses meant at the time. I don't know what it was. But I'm like, alright, molasses. I don't
Hopefully you know now.
So the next week I come in, right? Probably drop like 25, 30 points in the game, right? The week after that, they got the AU teams coming to see me at the Kings YMCA. Teams called All for One, teams called Mass Destruction. These are the top teams. These teams are.
And you're 10 years old.
10 years old at the time, yeah. They're talking about like they playing on these teams, traveling. I don't know nothing about basketball. My mom don't know about basketball. She just signed me up because I was at the crib. I don't know. I was just at the crib when we hanging outside, not doing nothing. They wouldn't get you to playing some basketball. All right. These teams, All for One, and they Mass Destruction, and ABC. Y'all know they end up being top teams playing the ABC. These are high caliber teams right here, right? So this is me getting these connections, just playing at the Kings YMCA. That's what it should started at. And then after that, I just been playing, making connections through AAU, connections with coaches, and then ended up playing, my first year at Kings and Lion. Took off from there.
Okay, now how many siblings you got?
I got my oldest sibling. I got is a sister on my mom's side. And I got an older brother on my mom's side. And I got a brother that's older than me on my dad's side, and I got a younger brother on my mom's side as well. So I got 4 siblings.
So was it a split family? Did you go with your mom and your dad? Did you go with your mom or your dad? Or
There was a little bit. I grew up with like a lot of different situations. I grew up with all my siblings at one time. Then next thing you know, we all like took them off from the foster care. And one thing, we get out of foster care. One of my older siblings and my other brothers, 2 other brothers that live in like an aunt and uncle. I'm living with my mom. There's a lot of stuff going on like every year.
I was about to say, well, that's something we probably can't just skip over. I mean, if you, just a little person, I want you to, break the whole situation. But if you're living together and then somehow you're apart, do you mind expounding on that? Like what took place? Like did your mother lose a job? Did your father lose a job? Did they divorce? Like what kind of drove that split? If you're growing up and all of y'all together, if it ain't too personal, like how did that change?
So like my last memory of us all being together was this one time. Police officer knocked on the door, right? Knocked on the door. Probably for about 10 minutes, my sister went open the door. She was the oldest at the time. She was like 12. But they kept banging on the door, and they was like, "Open up the door. We know you're in there. We know your parents are home. We just need to talk to them." So my sister opened the door. She was 12. I was 6. My brother was probably like 5 months at the time.
Wow.
He was real young. My sister, she doing a lot of she was doing a lot of work at a young age. So they was like, "Where's your mom?" Which I called her mom, but she wasn't answering because she's at work. She's doing what she was doing. My little brother's dad was just at work at the time. He was at work doing his thing too. So they was like, "I gotta come with us."
So what was it? Because of poor being taken care of, poor with your mother?
I think somebody called DSS and told them we got like a lot of young kids up there. They're not really being like monitored.
So y'all was eating like mayonnaise sandwiches for dinner, shit like that. Like
Nah, mom's always had like food on the tables. Like she always did everything. Like she leave like that's one thing I could always like say. Mom's always had like fried chicken in the microwave.
She's working them hours to make sure it happens.
But listen, mom's a chef though. Like she was like, I ain't gonna say and say we was eating wrong with music. We was eating good meals. We just ain't really spend time with it.
It was working them hours.
So having young kids taking young kids.
Yeah, when she came home, she cooked like at 2 in the morning. She cooking like ham hocks on the stove, collard greens.
Something for y'all to eat.
Something that lasts like 3-4 days.
Okay.
Like that's what mom was doing. But like she just she was working. And she had 4 kids when she was real young, and she was just trying to make a living off that.
Okay, we got
hating. They called the cops.
Yeah, we ain't got to beat that up. Just wanted to let people know just a little something of what's going on. So like, you moved over. Like, what was it like dominating in high school, then dominating in college, and then what's your next steps? Like, was it peer pressure to say you got to do better for the family? Was it peer pressure to say,
JD, you mind if I interject for a minute?
go ahead.
The hit, everybody got a fork in the road, right?
Yes, sir.
You hit a fork in the road.
Yeah.
You move from your home. And now, you hit all these benchmarks and achieve.
Above and beyond.
What drives you? What drives you to hit those achievements? Because I think a lot of us that watch this right now pay attention to what he responds to, because this is common in the urban community. This ain't new. This ain't new.
Yeah.
Shit happens, it go down. What pushed you not to settle and conform to everything around you? Because you hit some, JD hit some benchmarks, some achievements. What drove you to hit those achievements?
I never really thought of it as a achievement. I just love playing basketball. Like, I just always got recognition of being a good basketball player. Like, I'm a regular person, man. Like, my dream was to go to the NBA. You know what I mean? I was just like everybody else, but like the thing about me was that like I just love playing basketball. So like when I broke the record, I'm in college, you know, for breaking. Like they said, like, oh, you got the most doubles in a regular season. You know, like out of any player that ever do it. I'm like, I didn't even know that was like a thing, but like so now I hold a double record at Salem State University. You know, like I got the most rebounds in 2 seasons than anybody ever do that. Salem State, like at the school I went to, it was just like shit like life. I made an all-star when I was overseas. You know, I averaged freaking 30 points and 20 rebounds, and like people say like, oh, like is that shit too easy? I'm like, I'm just playing basketball. I just love playing basketball, but like I still want to go to the NBA. I know I'm good enough to do that. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing overseas. I'm averaging 30 points and 20 rebounds overseas because I know where I belong. You know what I mean? And so I'm just hoping, man. I'm not into the politics. I'm not into anything else. I'm just having fun about, you know, doing what I'm doing.
I mean, just from the conversation, it seems like you it's almost like you're just saying like, okay, you're blessed, you're in this position, and you're taking advantage of it. Yeah. But like, obviously, like where we come from and the situations that you've already dealt with, and like how you spoke on, and how most of us that have been in the city and we have growth, it's like, what's that peer pressure like from family and friends to say, okay, you dominated in high school, you're good. Like, you know, you can hang around us. This is good enough. Okay, so like now something in you said no. All right, so I got this offer to go to Salem State. Now you go to Salem State and you dominate. Okay, that's good enough. Listen, you're a hood legend. What else is there to do? You know, you can get a job at Amazon, anything like. So that drive, like doubling down on what Stan was asking, or like now you're going overseas. You done played in 2 different countries already. About to be your 3rd, because that's something I didn't mention. He got drafted to play in Guatemala, and you leave it what, Wednesday? Wednesday. So it's like, so why? How? Like, I mean, do you just love the game? Is that above all? Like, because I'm pretty sure peer pressure's a mug. Like, I mean, I know so many people that's like, oh man, hey, listen, you know, you graduated high school, you made it. Like, what's that other drive like? Like, is it just basketball? Like,
It's a good question, man. I don't know where to start answering that question, but I will say, like, definitely basketball. Like I said, it's my love, it's my passion. I'm doing it because that's what kept me, you know, alive. That's what kept me going as far as just playing basketball. But
do you want to make your mama proud, your daddy proud? Do you want to help your siblings? Like, is the pay overseas? And I don't want to get in your pocket and ask you how much money you make overseas, but working a 9 to 5 here with a college degree is okay, you know, or even just having. Did you get your degree at Salem State? Just want to make sure. Okay, that's got to be out here.
psychology.
Oh, so dumb motherfucker. Nah. So that's good. So
Greenway Counselor calling you.
Yes. So even with that, even when you go to San Jose State, there's people that you could have done internships and things like that. That could have drove you to say, hey, listen, I got my degree, I could work at this company. Is it possible that going overseas could be making less money than working at a nice company with a career with the opportunity to continue to move up? Financially, is it worth it? Are you thinking about that? Or are you just still saying like, well, I have this gift, I just want to continue to use my gift?
So with that being said, right, a lot of people, they get hung up on that financial part. People want to know how you make money overseas. Is it worth it? Like you just asked, is it worth it? All these other questions, right? And it depends, right? It just depends where you start off, how you're doing, and when you end up. I'm gonna be honest, right? Unless you're like a top prospect in college, right? It doesn't matter what you do in high school, right? Let's stop all the foolishness. Let's stop all it doesn't matter what you do in high school. When it gets to college, it depends what you do in college. If you're not a top prospect in college, in order for you to make some real money overseas, it's a grind. I don't care if you play Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, junior college, NAIA, it don't matter, it's a grind, right? So in the beginning, people ask, is it worth leaving whatever you're doing to go play overseas? It depends what you got going on. Like, it depends if you got children, it depends if you got family, it depends if, if you got, it's just a lot behind it. It's not like, it's not a yes or no, it depends what you got going on. For me, I was in a situation where I could afford to do it, so I was like, you know what, let me not try. Like, I'm gonna go try because, I still feel like I got some game I can do at the highest level, so I'm gonna play overseas. I don't know if I answered your question, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
what comes to mind for me is I grew up with your dad. And
good point. I know people wondering why Big Stan is here. Expound on that. He grew up with his dad, man.
I grew up with his dad, and
he sucked in ball. No, I'm kidding. I don't even know. Nah, did he play ball?
I played ball. His dad was a hell of a ball player.
Wow. Okay.
You know what's crazy? Is Marcus plays for us in the JWBL League, right? And
shout out to JWBL League. Stan runs that.
We're in our 8th year, Winthrop Park, 40 Daniel Street on Saturdays, 12 to 5. Come down, get some good food, bring your lawn chair, watch a good game,
watch some good shows,
and just interact with people that vibe with a good vibe. His dad always had rebounds, and like watching him, I see his dad. His dad always had rebounds, but his dad taught mad shit. And then he always had cleanup points. He would clean up the points. So we raised our kids. We wasn't the best fathers. Between the streets, crack epidemic hit, the hustle epidemic hit, and we didn't make the best choices. But one thing that we did is we prided ourselves on making sure our kids are going to know each other. And we made sure that. And to see Rick back in the day ball the way he did and watch his son play now, I just see the reflection. So to see Marcus in the position that he's in, doing what he's doing, making the achievements that he make, what comes to mind for me, and see, because it's important for us as elders and as adults, especially black men, you have all the rich experiences that come through all the atrocities you survived. You have proven things to yourself that you can overcome whatever happens to you. When you love something and have a passion for something, it never seems like a job. We're proud of you. We support you and we salute you because that's what we wanted to make sure that our kids are better than us.
And doubling down on that, right? There's a lot of cats. That's why I kind of was saying that earlier about the peer pressure. Especially when we grew up, we're a lot older than you are. You're only 5 years old, but I know social media is taking over a lot now that we have to deal with. Like, we heard about the bully down the street or when I see you, this, that, and the other. But right now, it's so different where, you've done enough. Like, you got the highlights, you got a lot of stuff that's going on that's perfect for you. Stop now. Like, that's the drive. Like, you've done enough. Like, you're from meek situations, and to be in the position you are, to have your name out there is good enough. So why continue to do this country travel? You're learning a new language, a new culture. Like, I don't know if you have to learn the language, but I would assume, especially if a rapper saying, I'm from Fernando. Like, you said, what is that? It's probably a foul on you, but how difficult is that? Like, to come home, because how long is the season overseas?
Like 3 to 4 months long.
Wow. So now you're home so long. Is it a lot of people in your ear saying, listen, good job, you've done enough? Like, why would you go from one country to another country, and now you're about to go to Guatemala? Like, first of all, how could you shut those people up? Do you have people in your ear saying, enough's enough? Like, you did good.
Everybody. That's what everybody said. Come on, man.
You done enough. So why are you going back? Like, what is, and then these third world countries, I don't want to disrespect them, but either
talk
way.
to me, man. Like, ask the question. This is what people want to know.
Yeah. So why? So why? You're
Say
home.
what you just said. Like, talk, be real.
So you're home more months than you're playing basketball overseas.
Yeah.
Why are you going back?
Oh, I'm going back where?
Overseas. Like, why right now you just got drafted, you going to the Guatemala
Yeah,
league?
that third world country. Why are you going?
So why are you going?
Because I love basketball. I want to play basketball.
You can play basketball at the YMCA, at Vine Street. Shout out to my man Reese Warren. The Tobin. There's so many leagues that you could probably play, dominate in, and you're still getting your basketball juices off. So why? Is it the money? Is it the notoriety? Is it what is? Like, you're literally saying, like, you're about to pack your bags and go to Guatemala. Why?
What's your dream?
Why?
Still got a dream.
Tell me. Explain your dream.
So I'm going to do, man. I feel like that's the best case scenario for me to get a peace of mind, to focus on, like, me being able to make it where I want to get to. I don't think me being home in Boston, working at 9 to 5, and then, using that extra time I have when I'm not tired, to go train my body and do all this. I want to take the time right now, use basketball as a full-time thing, and then, work part-time to grind, do what I want to do. And anybody got a problem with that? Like, I don't care, because this is what I love to do. Basketball is my calling. That's what I feel like. People want to know, like, are you making enough money off that shit? I'm making enough money to survive. Nobody hear me. I don't ask nobody for shit. I don't call nobody. In the past 4 or 5 years I've been grinding, ain't nobody can ever say Marcus called me to ask borrow some money to, do whatever. Marcus been grinding, Marcus been minding his business, and I'm gonna get what I need to get to. And that's why I go overseas.
Real quick, let me borrow $5 till tomorrow.
You know what's funny when you say that, right? There's a lot of people that sit on park benches.
Facts.
And they become park bench lawyers,
Park
bench analysts.
Yeah, facts.
What you did is you crossed zip codes, state lines, in 3 different countries.
Opry number 4.
And you didn't allow your zip code or your experience to determine who you are. Now, I hear the basketball piece, right?
Good tunes,
I hear the basketball
Good
piece.
tunes, Stan.
But when you're removed from a situation that you grew up in, right? And have to deal with foster care and everything else.
Right. Speak on it.
Give me the money, man. Give me the money on what made you just conform to your environment. Because what happens, right? It's easier to become what's around me.
Easy.
And you broke the oath. The oath is shit's fucked up. Let me get to the bag. You stuck with your dream with all the adversity that hit you. And I need to know what kind of gas you gassing up with. You gassed with 93, 95?
Right,
What the fuck
right.
you gassed up with
Super.
to push you not to settle and conform to everybody else?
I'm not gonna lie because listen, I'm not gonna say it's because of God because I'm not somebody who prayed a lot, right? I stopped praying a lot now. But what I will say is my mom is just like, she's a great mom. I don't know how her relationship is with people on the street. I don't know how her relationship is with people like outside of that, just being real, but like when it comes to being a mother, there ain't nothing like her, man. She's a good mother. She, to this day, you know, about to be 28 years old in 3 weeks, August 1st. She tells me like, you know, keep doing what you're doing until you get tired of it.
So then that's your driving force then. Like, you know, we was kind of delving into it, whatever, and maybe, you know, sometimes this is like a psychiatrist chair. Like, I like to feel that way. Like, you know, we try to pull
You've
it
been
out.
constantly
But, like,
building.
yeah. But like, no, like, for real, because I know basketball probably came easy to you, but I also think that you have to put in a lot of work to keep your body in shape, to continue to play, to put up. I mean, we're not sitting up here talking about 7 points and like 3 rebounds and you're going overseas. We're talking about this, you're dominating leagues, like, you know, your first team All-American, your MVPs. Like, so there has to be more than just, especially with peer pressure, sitting around your neighborhood and what have you, we sat through it. But this is enough. I'm good. So that driving force, I think we finally got to it. It's like, you know, just the idea, you probably want to put that smile on your mother's face at some point.
Yeah, but like you said.
Or continue to put that smile on your mother's face. I'm sorry, because I think that you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that you continue to do it and keep moving. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Nah, but I'm just doing it to do it. Like, you know, like the first time I ever had a trainer in my life was, I'm 20, like I said, I'm 27 now, I'm about to be 28 in 3 weeks. First time I ever had a trainer in my life, I was 25 years old. White dude from Sacramento named Mike. I don't know his last name, but
Mike Jones. Mike Jones. Oh, no.
Nah,
He
he
from
was a good dude,
Texas.
man. Like, he showed me some things, and then, like, you know, a couple, like, you know, part of the year later, I went back to Boston, whatever. I was in California for whatever reason. I moved back to Boston. I met a trainer out there. Really good dude named Constantine Taylor. Like, you know, he just put me in a game, but, like, before that, I was just out here hooping, man. I was, like, playing basketball, getting, I mean, just getting buckets out, and people just, you know, showing love. I ain't really understand the concept of it. Like, now that, you know, where I am now, you gotta work hard, you gotta really dedicate yourself, you gotta focus on your craft, and you gotta be a professional. And like, now that I got all that, I got this people in my corner, I know it's time, I'm ready to go for the league. You know, that's that.
One thing we do want to mention too is like, I know you went to Cambridge in July, and I want to shout out my man Pierre, you know, over there coaching at Cambridge in July.
Yeah, the building. Pierre, the building.
Too.
My God.
So, just having people in your corner, like, could you say it was, you know, one person specifically? Was there several people, like coaches, or because typically, like I've coached basketball, you know, young kids, what have you, and sometimes we see talent, and we try to make them better in some aspect and give them our phone numbers and stuff like that. So, would you say you had one person, two people? 17 people, like, just over your lifetime, like you said, you just got your first training at 25. But I don't believe you got where you are today without other mentors, right? So if you want to give a couple of them a shout out, 5 of them, 10 of them, I don't care. You can go where you want to because this is your life story. All right,
Well, the first one, the most important one to me, Lance Dine. That's my
Lance Dine. Okay, Lance. The Dines.
Yeah,
That's my guy. That's my family. All right.
Okay. Well, shout out Lance. I don't know.
Yeah. Cambridge.
Watch the podcast.
Yeah.
Cambridge.
One thing about Lance,
Dines rule Cambridge.
one thing Lance always told me was that, like, I could be a hell of a player. I had a special talent, but I was never gonna get to where I wanted to get to. I had to put in that work. And he always told me that. That's just something that he stuck with me, and I always try to defy him. I always try to go against that, but I had to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? But I'm learning I'm a little older now. I'm a little late, but he told me, he said, once you get your focus right, you put in that work. He said there's no stopping you with it, and he's been right ever since. And so that was the first guy, right? Love him. I talk to him every day. Second guy, my Coach Harvey, Sam State. That's why I broke the record. That's why I did my thing.
That's right.
Coach Harvey just allowed me, like,
shout out to
take
Coach
over the
Harvey.
shit.
Shout out to Coach
Coach Harvey allowed me to take over the shit.
Shout out to you.
Be that guy. Just be the leader. Because there was a time, the point, the team where we didn't have like a senior on the team, so it was a bunch of juniors. It was like 2 juniors, 2 sophomores, and like 9 freshmen on the team. So he's just looking for somebody to be the leadership, and he's just like taking me to be the captain. We went to the conference finals that year, we lost in the conference championship, but next year we ended up winning that whole thing.
That's right. Say that.
Enjoy yourself.
But now Coach Harvey was that guy, and then, third person, I could think it was Pierre Francois. That's my guy,
Francois. Yeah, shout out, P.
When I love Pierre, I love you, man. You always check in. You always, tell me you're proud of me. You always motivate me to keep doing what I'm doing, man. You are the only person in the city to really do that for me, and I appreciate that for you, man. Like, thank you. I remember calling you after this too, man.
Ordinary people do extraordinary things.
I know, Pete, man, like, you know what I mean? But that's a different story. But yeah, we had another question. We want to start off with, I forgot your name, but the young lady, Deborah wanted to ask you a quick question.
Have you ever been to Guatemala? You're 27 years old.
Yeah, so I've been there because when I played in El Salvador one time, I guess there was something going on like at the airport. They didn't want to find me in El Salvador, say flew me to Guatemala, which is probably like a 3-hour ride from El Salvador. Said they left me in the airport, brought me back to El Salvador. Yeah, but I probably spent like 2 hours in there, so I get some food.
That's it. You've never played ball.
No, I ain't been to play ball.
So what is your attraction to Guatemala?
I want to go there.
Yeah, why do you want to go?
I'm not scared to travel. I just want to see different shit.
That's good.
I want to see different things.
Yeah, you say shit.
Yeah,
This ain't PG1.
Like, I just want to travel. I want to just be able to do things people haven't been able to do. Like, I want to learn different language. I want to meet people. I want to be. I just want to step to Boston.
Will you be traveling alone over there?
I'm traveling alone. I got a girlfriend or something with me.
Family members as well?
Tell me to get their passport.
That's hard to
They
do.
tell me, like, get your passport. My mother got a passport, the Asian, and after age, like, get your passport. For real.
And maybe you need to start a GoFundMe page for him to have his family come see him when he travel. I mean, we got to represent like our hood, you know what I mean? Like, this is kind of one of the reasons why we have this podcast. It ain't just about rap. It ain't just about music, entertainment. It's about everything, man. Like, we're gonna have a lot of people on Masculine Color podcast, man. So it's just another young gem, man. That they stand brought across us, man. I'm glad that I had the pleasure of meeting them and deal with them, and I'm glad you guys are hearing the stories because this story's gonna affect so many other people, man. Some young cat right now that's going through some of the same type of situations and. Man, I know a lot of cats that went through that dominated in high school, then it was over. Dominated in high school, then went to college, then it was over. So, that dream, and then these days, all you need is one. You know, you're in a tournament or you're in another country. Right now, people will find you. The game's the game. If you're dominating, if you're putting up these numbers, if you're averaging 30 and 15, I don't care where you're playing at. If you're averaging 30 and 15, you gotta look at how foreign players are dominating the NBA right now. So you need a shot. But I'm not gonna keep dwelling on that. Big Country had a question. Country, what you have for us?
My question is you. Now that you grew up in 02125 and all that and everything, and my question is you. Now you here, you seen it. What is your chance of how you feel about giving back and having the young people and everything, where you can show them and teach them, like, it don't matter where you come from.
So the group I want to target, if I can, I know there's a lot of young, young black folks, like young black men like myself, man, I like, going through that phase where like they just don't want to see mom, some pops or whatever, they just gang bang, whatever they're doing, seeing around, like, they just going with his mom. It was a, I don't want to put business too much, but it was a parent that I was working with today, and she had two boys training at the park with us, this is probably the first time they can train, I haven't, heard about the father figure, or, seeing them, and I can relate to that, and it's just like, that's the cycle I want to break. A lot of us, young men are going it now, like, we don't got the father figures that kind of see right from wrong. So, like, it was a point in time in my life where, I was just going off emotion all the time, not knowing that, like, it was emotion, like, thinking, like, I'm going to just do that because, I'm angry, and that's how you feel like a man.
Yeah.
That's wrong, that's how you feel like a man,
That's right.
And I learned that at a late age, but, that's the group I want to try. I want to teach these guys like this a different way. Like, how to be a man and how to be responsible. Like,
yeah, because it's all about giving back and everything. And I said, you take your success and you teach it to where you come from, and let the young kids know we got love out there. You got love. We gonna teach y'all. And if I can do it. Anybody, and like you said, put in that hard work, and put in everything.
And that's where we're going, right? With situations like this. Again, somebody's watching it. Somebody's going to see this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what race, creed, color, shape, size, right?
Yep.
There's ball players, right? But I always knew that basketball taught so many other things about life in general. And you don't have to be a ball player to understand or to receive what you're given. Like, you're still teaching knowledge of want, will, and effort. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not just laying down and like, okay, I'm just going to play ball when I go overseas. You're working hard. You're continuously working to achieve a goal. And that could be in any aspect of life. So,
especially as giving back.
Just to add to that,
you come from, and when you understand it's hard for you, and it's hard for young kids out here, and we make a difference, especially you. You make the difference. You are the number one.
When I think about what Country just said, I think about the deposits. John, with the basketball league, we started 8 years ago. When we started, they said that to go up there, the only people that could play up there are the people that got out of jail. 8 years later, we had Marcus, Faison, Mike Rodriguez, who played overseas. Our passion, our dream, is to inspire that anybody that walks onto that court, Tony Barrows,
Yes.
you can play anywhere you want to play and do anything you want to do. And it's important, like Country said. Once you reach your milestone, you tell people what the progress is, what the process is. A lot of people say, I want to play overseas. A lot of people don't know how to play overseas because they don't know how to get overseas. And then it ends up with a park bench conversation.
Or what?
A park bench conversation. Where you sit on the park bench and everybody talk about how I want to get overseas, how I want to play this, how I want to do this. To build the legacy of what we do. You're part of our legacy. We ran with your dad. He's not doing great right now, but guess what?
We're proud of it.
We are a process and part of your dad. We hold each other down through thick and thin. To see you, we don't want nothing off of what you do. We just want you to be able to come back and come back and tell somebody how you got to where you went.
And also give me that $5.
Give your experience, give your
But
knowledge.
let me finish. See, stop country for a minute. The way you take care of your dad, you're not doing well. That's my brother. Men that watch this, don't judge a person based on the absentee until you understand the circumstances, man. We all have a story, and don't let the dominant story fuck up the subjugated story, because there's an underlying story behind all of that.
Amen.
And your pops made sure, and me, Lil Sam, Reb, Country, we made sure our kids were together. The subjugated story is that we didn't have no direction. But to be alive, to hear you give direction to your life, I don't want to take credit for it. I just want to get the pom-poms and salute you and proud and say, you know what? That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
But nobody showed us how to do it. And now that you're doing it, please come back. Bring the other people that play overseas with you, bring them back and share how to get there.
And that's the story, real talk, about Masculine Cover Podcast, because I've seen it, brought up around it. People 10 years older than me, 10 years younger than me, the story remained the same. But I hate the story, it's too late.
That's right.
A lot of us grew up in a certain way, and it was like we didn't have that guidance, right? But a lot of my peers show guidance to their youth, or even their brothers or sisters or cousins, friends' youth. And
Amen.
that youth got to start showing and proving too, with showing what they received. So it's good to have somebody like you up there right now that's a product of that. And it's going to be more, we already have several interviews. A lot of it started off with the, older school people showing what we went through. But I definitely plan on moving towards some of the younger people that have benefited from how some people had to do 10 years in a pen. Some people had to go to drugs. Some people were selling drugs. Some people, there's so many stories. But right now, there are a lot of people that has benefited from those stories, right? So I like to present the stories of, okay, at this stage and age, now I'm on 50, I went through this, that, and the other, right? So that's a good story to tell, no matter what. But it's good to see 25 to 30 saying, you know what, those people that are 50 years old now showed me and taught me things that I could do that are better, because not all of those kids have that same story. Now there are people that's 15 to 25 that need to see and hear this story of I'm dominating, I'm nice in basketball, I'm nice in art, I'm nice in whatever it is you're nice in, but to continue that motion, to continue to show you're bigger and better than your environment, but also there's more to do.
You know, it's powerful, man. JD just hit it. He just hit it. You know, last time we was on here, we talked about being able to go upstairs and get a slice of bread. You go downstairs and get a slice of cheese.
Right.
And then in the area I grew up in, I didn't consider it poverty. Because you got all of our ends met.
Right.
But for you to hit milestones, you're going into another country with no families, no relatives. If anybody's watching this, man, like, find what you're passionate about. It don't gotta be basketball. Find what you're passionate about.
Right.
Find what you're passionate about. Because what he talked about is you making sure that you put yourself around people that make sure your passion equals the outcome. If this podcast don't do nothing else, reach out to JD and Skizzo to make sure they connect your child, your young people, because you know, it's crazy how, you know, we're in the urban city, we're dinosaurs now. But guess what? We're dinosaurs with information. Reach out to Skizzo, reach out to JD. If your child or somebody that you love got potential and they're connected, connect with them, and they'll make sure they'll find a connection for your child. If we can't make sure that shit happens, we fail.
And I'm gonna say this, I wanted Marcus to just speak whatever's on your mind, just like off of what we said. Go a minute, go 2 minutes, whatever. Just how you feel about your journey, how you feel about the next person's journey coming up. Just speak for a few minutes and we'll end it off with that. After, you know, right on, speak on.
Alright, so it's Saturday.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know you, you know, so a lot of people are gonna be like, hey, they got Marcus on. Talk to the people.
So it's Saturday, July 9th, 2022, and I'm even taking off at Brown Model on July 13th, so that's 4 days from now. And I'm about to continue my journey. I've been playing overseas, you know, kept this at the beginning. Playing overseas about 3.5 years, going on 4. But I go to a new country. And out there, you know, I'm gonna go out there with my thing. I just want to be able to, you know, take a jump from there. Because, you know, it's been a grind these past 4 years. I'm not where I want to be. You know, people have questions about the money and all that stuff. You know, like the situation, like where can I go from there? All these questions. Like the opportunity I'm going to next, it's a great opportunity for me to really, like, you know, take off and, you know, get far in my career. So, you know, stay tuned, man. I'm not saying things are gonna happen, just stay tuned. Like, you can be the best, you know, you never know. Just, you know, pray for me if you care for me. If you don't, just pray for me, support me. You know, if you don't, yeah, you don't make it, like, whatever, man.
No, we love it. Yeah. No, hate comes with growth and growth.
Hate can come out for the game.
Love you, nephew.
Growth makes you.
Everybody gonna get to know you, bro. Trust me, you keep grinding, you keep doing, you keep putting in that work. Trust me, everybody gonna know you.
I know.
What I want everybody to understand, right, is I want y'all to meet the individual, you know, because sports, I know a lot of people see athletes that dominate. If you look at somebody like LeBron James, he was the chosen one from like 15 years old. You don't see LeBron James caught up in arrest, prostitutes in his room, things of that nature. So LeBron is a good example of just how that's an individual that has dominated not only in his craft, but as a great person. So I want you to meet the person that's playing basketball, dominating on the court, but also understand where he is as an individual. You know, there are people that's watching and say, oh, I didn't go with my mother, I didn't go with my father. Your situations and your circumstances don't define you. You can do bigger and better things, right? And we're going to continue this, but also I would love when you come back from Guatemala to do part 2 of this. How was that season? What did you do? And yeah, this is only part 1, man. I love the fact that we are all here. Thank you, Stan, for introducing me to Marcus. Marcus, it was a pleasure to meet you. Always open finger back.
Ordinary people do extraordinary fucking things.
And that's the game, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. There's gonna be a part 2. Love, bless, man. Enjoy, man.
Love, bless, enjoy.
Probably not.
Good shit.